All right. Well, today on the show, first of all, Brett Allen here. Thanks everybody for listening and watching. I have a very special guest. I am so excited about this. We are talking with actress, comedian, storyteller, musician, live from Nashville as we speak, Victoria Jackson. Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Brett, it's so nice to meet you. Hi, everybody. I've never done an interview while I'm getting my highlights done, but today I triple booked myself. And so I said, Brett, let's just do it anyway.
Yeah, so very cool stuff. You and I were talking before I started recording about the fact that, well, I think everybody knows who you are. You're known for the ukulele and writing songs and fun things, but you mentioned, I believe, that you're working on or have completed an actual album now that you're getting ready to release here very soon.
Yes, what happened was I never hire a PR agent, but what happened was I I've been in Nashville 10 years. We moved here to follow our grandchildren because me and my husband are retired. He's a retired cop, and actresses are always out of work.
Yes.
So we moved here and we love it here. It's wonderful. But if you live in Nashville, you have to be a singer or a songwriter.
Yes.
And when I moved here, I was like, I already am. I already am. I sang on Johnny Carson, my original songs. I've sung with my uke and my stand-up act for 30 years, and I sang on Saturday Night Live. And so I started recently compiling all of my songs and putting them on my Instagram, which is Victoria Jackson Official. I think that's what it is. And I started putting little clips from all my songs that I've sung all over the place, Canada and everywhere. And I thought, I do have a singing. So my goal is to get to the Grand Ole Opry.
Okay.
And it's harder than it looks. I mean, my only obstacle is my voice.
Okay.
But you see, Bob Dylan, he didn't have a great voice and it never stopped him, right?
No, it did. Yeah, that's a very true. Probably the most honest I've heard anybody. A lot of people, maybe, depending on who you're talking about. But yeah, I get that part. It seems like that would make the most sense for sure.
Yeah. So I all of a sudden, I was praying and I said, God, I am so tired of all this negative stuff and politics and everything. And I'm not good in politics. I want to fight for freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and I want the bad people to go to jail, and I want the good people who love God and the Bible and morality to be in office. But it's a dirty, dirty business, that politics. And I said, Lord, I want to do comedy again. I know that I'm 64 and, I haven't been on SNL for 30 years. All of a sudden, God dropped like 5 comedy things in my lap.
Wow.
2 country music videos, 3 low budget Christian movies. I had a super funny part. And one was called Into the Spotlight. It just came out like a week ago on YouTube. I play the principal, super funny part. And then I got to be funny in Mason Douglas's music video called I Miss America.
Yeah, he's coming on the show like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so I was in a Logan Sekulow film playing a raving lunatic liberal activist.
I
And
love that.
so I got the bug back. And then I was in a 168 film festival, 2 movies, short films. It's a Christian film festival. And it gave me that old bug back in my veins. And so I said to Mason Douglas's PR guy, I met him, and I was like, well, I'm going to be on Huckabee next week. Could you tell the Grand Ole Opry gatekeeper to watch my singing on there and maybe consider me to be maybe the next Minnie Pearl? So then, thank you for asking. I love to talk.
No, you're
myself.
great. This is like a pure joy for me. You have no idea. I think that is so awesome.
No, so end of the story is that yesterday, me and Mason Douglas and his friend Bill DeLuigi, we made up a song in 2 hours called Mini Pearl. And I want to show the Opry people, see if they consider me. Because I think we need a new Mini Pearl now, don't you think?
Yes, I grew up watching her too. She was the best. I think we just need lightheartedness and to be able to laugh without being offended, and to just enjoy comedy. That's a whole different conversation, but really, because I interview a lot of comedians, and obviously the culture we're in, wherever somebody might land, it's just too easy to get offended about anything. And comics that were funny 10 years ago, 5 years ago, now all of a sudden aren't funny for whatever reason, whether it's the culture, whether people are too woke. I don't know. You pick. It could be many different things. So I think what you're doing is awesome. And I hope the best for you, because I think that's what we need.
Thank you. I noticed people are fighting back. Rob Schneider and other comedians, they're fighting back. They're saying, you can't tell me what to say. This is
Right.
America, freedom of speech. If I
Yeah.
want to say there should not be open borders, I'm going to say it.
Right.
But of course, they make it in a joke, and it's easier to, get your ideas across if they're in a joke. But let me ask you something, and I want to ask you if this is offensive, because it's not. Okay. Roseanne Barr, she's fighting back, right?
Yeah.
She's like, I
100%.
want to be funny like I used to be and say what makes me laugh. I always made up stuff that made me laugh. And then I try it out and they're like, oh yeah, they think it's fun too. Okay, so here's an idea. Here's a joke. My husband only has one expression. I have a lot of facial expressions. My husband has one, but he was a cop, so it's a good thing for a cop, probably,
Yeah.
Paul, the house is on fire. Paul, we won the lottery. So we worked on his expressions. I taught him like slight surprise, and I taught him big surprise. And then he practiced the Ben Stiller one, blue steel. He practiced that. But anyway, I thought, it's not his fault that he has no facial expressions, because he's Chickasaw, like his mother. They can't help it. They're totem poles. When I met his mother, I was trying to be politically correct, so I said, how? Is that offensive?
I don't think so. No. I think with comedy, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I feel like that Dave Chappelle has said this. So many people, like with comedy, you have to, I don't know how to put it because I'm not a comic, but you just have to like be able to laugh. And with the cancel culture that exists and all of this stuff, it's just insane. I did want to ask you, that is a great joke, by the way. Thank you for sharing that bit. I think
It's
that's
an okay joke. Here's another one that
okay.
I love. Tell me about that. But hold your thought. Hold your thought.
Holding.
You're going to ask me something. Um, you know, the LGBTQ movement has actually been good for my marriage, because I used to get jealous when a pretty girl would walk by my husband, but now I just go, dibs. I like that joke.
That's really good. Yeah, that's funny. So
Okay, so go ahead. What was
no. Finish your thought, please. No, that was really funny. I
you
think
think
that's.
it's offensive to Christians?
I don't know. I mean, that again, Christians can be weird, and it could be a good weird or just a weird. But again, I think it comes back to just the idea of, like, you're a comic and your idea is to communicate thoughts and stories and have a point of view, right? I mean, that's the whole idea of comedy, is to have a point of view. Like if I pay $30 to go see a comedian at a club, I expect to be entertained and to be laughed, whether they're working on a special or on a set or whatever, and to not be offended. You know what I'm saying? And to just go loud. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty solid believer, but I like to have fun and laugh and joke.
Right.
And
See, I'm a solid believer in Jesus too. but I don't think that joke is offensive in any way. And also, I love Maria Bamford, and she's an atheist. And I love to watch her. I
Yeah.
just bought her book. I love to hear her point of view. It doesn't offend me. I don't like bad language, like when people use the F word every sentence. But like, I understand where they're. I mean, I don't listen to stuff like that. But
Right.
I love to hear other points of view. I get tired of being in my own skin, and I appreciate their sense of humor, even if it's different than mine.
Yeah, I think
What
that's
were
a
you going
great
to
way to
ask
have.
me?
Well, I wanted to ask you, like, you've had a very long career and you are working on new stuff now. Do younger comics, when you do, because Nashville's a pretty busy place, do you ever get approached by other younger artists who solicit you for advice or ask you your thoughts on certain things? Does that ever happen to you? And if so, like what advice do you give?
Occasionally. So, if anyone just tuned in, I'm getting my hair bleached blonde.
I love
And,
it.
and so I got foil on my head because they're putting highlights in. Sometimes young comics ask me for advice, but I'm kind of old, so I think that the young comics are probably asking hot current comics for advice. Everything's so different now. I mean, they don't even audition you in person anymore. I think people audition online,
Yeah,
which
like this
so
via
much,
Zoom now.
yeah, like that's different from in my day, and it seems much easier than facing a room full of mean looking people than to put yourself on tape seems like way better. But things have changed. The music industry's changed. The streaming thing has changed everything. So people don't really ask me for advice, but they do like to hear my stories, my showbiz stories. They love to hear those a lot.
Yeah, I imagine you have quite a few, and you probably get asked that a lot. I was just going through your filmography, TVography. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, we don't have enough time to talk about it because there's so much that you've done. Obviously, SNL is a big part of your life. The Tonight Show, I mean, just for laughs. I mean, so many moments. Is it hard to just pick one that is a standout to you that really defined you? Obviously, Saturday Night Live might be it. I don't know. You've done so much. Like, I would hate to pigeonhole you into one per thing because there's just so many that you've done. It's crazy.
Well, I have had three highlight moments, maybe 10, but my two top memories are my first time on Johnny Carson, which was 1983, and Jim McCauley, the talent scout, was holding the curtain and he was going to pull it back when he heard my name, and I was going to walk out there. And everyone said, if Johnny loves you, you have a career. And if Johnny doesn't love you, you don't have a career. So it was a lot of pressure, but Jim McCauley's hand was shaking. And I said, why are you shaking? I'm the one who has to go out there. And he said, because if Johnny doesn't like you, I lose my job.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, thanks. That's even more pressure. So, but when I went
Wow.
out there, it went well, and Johnny gave me the okay sign. So that was like the first highlight of my career. And then he had me back on 20 times. The third time was a highlight because they said he wanted you back, but you have to do something really big. So I'd already done my best 6 minutes and my B material, my second 6 minutes. And then I was on the couch, but they're like, he you have to do something really big. And I was like, oh no, really big. And I thought, hey, I'll do my balance beam routine from when I was a gymnast. My dad was a coach. And I'll sing a song. No one's ever mixed gymnastics with singing. So I sang the song Angry Woman, and it's on YouTube now. It's in black and white because Jim McCauley knew that Johnny Carson Productions would own all of the material from his shows, but he made it in black and white. It was like some kind of clause so that I could own it
Wow.
and I could have it for my life in the future, a copy of it, which was so sweet of him. And so I own that. That's why Carson Productions hasn't erased it off the internet yet. But because they own it. They don't own the black and white version. So anyway, Angry Woman, that was kind of a highlight because I did not fall off the beam. I thought this is only going to be funny and good if I don't fall off the beam because I'm playing a ditz. I don't know. It's like something about the mixture between serious art and gymnastics is serious and dangerous. And then ditzy is like the opposite. And I thought, if I fall all over the place, it's not going to be funny. It's going to be pathetic and tragic. But if I actually hit some of my hard tricks, I didn't do the hardest ones because I was 23 and you peak in gymnastics at 14. But anyway, so my other highlight of my career was I'm on Saturday Night Live. I never had I didn't train with the Groundlings. I never had improv training. Lauren picked me by seeing my stand up. I auditioned with my 6 minutes from Carson. And so Lauren thought I was funny, I suppose. But I didn't know how to write a sketch. I learned on the job, I was trying to keep up with the Church Lady and the Liar, and they were brilliant. So I was usually cast as the ditz and stuff, which is fine with me because I love playing that. But anyway, so I was always trying to write something. So when Jessica Hahn was involved in the Tammy Baker scandal, Jim and Tammy Baker scandal, she was on the cover of People and said, "I am not a bimbo." And then she stripped for Playboy. And one of the writers, Christine Zander, threw the People magazine on my desk. And it had Jessica Hahn's picture in a big, "I am not a bimbo." And she goes, "Victoria, this would be perfect for you." And I was like, thinking, well, why isn't she writing it? She's the writer. But I immediately, really fast wrote a song, "I'm Not a Bimbo." And I remember the guy at the desk, he helped me with some of the lyrics. What's his name? And so then Greg McDaniel, he became a writer after that, successful.
Wow.
Greg McDaniel, I think. Greg Daniel, something like that. And so anyway, I did it on the update desk and it was a big hit. And I remember walking into the after party and my feet were like 10 feet off the ground because I felt like I got the respect of my peers for the first time because it was something that was happening in the news that week. That's what they were looking for. And fit my character or whatever you call it. Anyway, that was like the most exciting moment.
I love that. I mean, I hear that a lot from comedians. Like, the greatest thing you can get is respect from your peers. I mean, SNL is so much different. I've talked to a few cast members that not current, but have had 1 or 2 year stints. I think you had a pretty long stint on there, like a season maybe, and it just didn't work out for them for whatever reason. But they do stand up and they get the laughs and they have the respect. I'm interested to know, I know we're coming up on our time here, but you're in Nashville, you're working on great music, and what a career. I mean, I could listen to your stories all day. I mean, that's just so cool to hear all of that and to just even imagine what times were like then versus what it's like now. As a sidebar, do you watch that show now at all, or are you pretty far removed from that life and you're working on what you're working on now, raising grandkids and just enjoying your life a little bit?
I do try to keep up with Saturday Night Live. I went to the 40-year reunion and I think the 50th is coming up and I hope I get invited to that. I have such great memories. It was so exciting and life-changing. It was so stressful, but I do try to keep up with it. I think in the last few years, it's become too much of a political agenda, left biased, left driven thing where it's like they're not aiming for comedy as much as they're aiming to brainwash this generation into global communism, actually.
I feel the same way. It's just so many opinions and so many, it's crazy.
we used to just try to be funny.
Right.
And when we did presidents, it was like to be funny. But when Alec Baldwin does Trump, he has so much hate inside of him that it's hard to watch, you know?
Yeah. Well, he has his own problems now, I think, to deal with. Yeah, I know it's crazy. It's just sometimes I watch it and I just have to shut it off because I'm like, okay, like there's this great person on there or a great cast. And it's like I want to laugh, but I find myself getting irritated. So
Yeah.
that's not comedy's not supposed to piss you off. Pardon my language. I don't think,
Yeah.
not in that way. Well, you have just had such a great career. You have grandkids. When your kids did they ever get what you did when they were growing up? I mean, now I'm sure they do, obviously, but were they ever interested in anything, showed any interest in the industry, or were you like, this was great, but I would highly encourage maybe doing something else because it's such a crazy industry?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
My two daughters did not want to be in show business because they saw the dark side.
Yeah, I'm
They
sure.
saw that you're always getting rejected. You're always leaning on the public's perception of you. You're always wondering where your next paycheck's going to be. People are nice to you and you don't know if it's real or not. You know, my daughter said, I could tell which of your friends was just trying to use you, or, you know, so my two daughters were not interested, but they're creative. So my oldest, Scarlett Hiltebeitel, she's married. She's a Christian writer and speaker,
Okay.
and for Lifeway, and she's on her like fifth book now. I'm
Wow.
super proud. My other daughter's a great dancer and piano player and singer, songwriter, but she has like a normal job right now with a health thing, renting doctors out thing. But she's very creative. Now the next generation, my granddaughter Ever Grace, she is an actress singer. She has such a great voice. She played the Little Mermaid. Oh, she was so good. And my daughter's sheltering her from she's very cautious of what she lets her be in. She doesn't want her to go down the route of the child star thing.
Right.
So she's mostly in like local plays, and she has the bug that I have for acting, and she's very comfortable on stage. So I kind of get to enjoy that with her. And the other one tap dances, and the other one is an artist.
Wow. What a generation to just have. I think that's what we all want as parents. For me, I have a 9-year-old son. I want him to enjoy life and to be a good father, but also leave a legacy for him. That's part of why I do this and talk to these great people. So one day he'll be able to look back and go, oh, my dad did something really cool. Right now he's soccer and video games, and he's in drama class, which I was really excited that he wanted to do that. So I think that's cool. That was his own thing. So very cool. Well, I have to say, this has been such a blessing to talk to you. I mean, I've talked to amazing people all the time, obviously President Company included, but this is a highlight for me. I grew up watching you on television. So to be able to just spend some time with you and you share your stories has been a blessing. So I really appreciate your time with all of this.
Brett,
I really.
Can I say one last thing?
Of course. Yeah, you're Victoria Jackson. Of course.
Hey, what's your tattoo of?
Oh, I have multiple tattoos. They're all circle around my kid in some way, shape, or form. So
interesting. Okay, well, I just want to say that the greatest legacy we can give our kids, I know you agree, is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
To know him and to know God and to love God and to read his word. And the greatest achievement I've ever achieved is that both of my daughters love Jesus, and they study the Bible, and it gives them so much that the world can't give them, fame and money, and the world can't give you supernatural peace and hope for life after death. And it sounds like a fairy tale, but it's the greatest love story ever, and I do believe it's true. And I study the Bible all the time, and they do too. So that's, I think, that's what I'm the most proud of, my two little masterpieces.
I love it. Victoria, it's been a blessing. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. In the middle of your hair appointment, of all
Thank
things.
you. Thank you for not being offended,
Of
because
course
I'm very
not.
unorganized, and yeah, I'm not good at scheduling things.
That's okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate everything, and we'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.